And we are live here on the campus of East Texas Baptist University for the championship round of our NCATA Division III tournament. Mark T. Robinson back from a little bit of a hiatus here, had a lot of events going here, and we are going to have the two teams right now that are in the finals here. Concordia University, Wisconsin, taking on UMHB, a usual in the championship round. And coming up here in just a couple of seconds, I'm going to have my main man, Kyle Shipp, joining me. First, we're going to give you guys a 30-second look at the compulsory event to start this off here. So don't go there. This is the TV Plus Network.
First event is the compulsory event. The compulsory event consists of 4 heats: an acro heat, a pyramid heat, a toss heat, and a tumbling heat. These skills for the compulsory event represent the basic skills of the sport of acrobatics and tumbling. In this event, each team will execute the same skills for direct comparison. Each heat begins with a starting value of 10, and the officials will be looking for execution, body positions, and stability of structures.
And just like that, we're back. Concordia, Wisconsin has taken to the mat here for the championship round. They'll start off with the compulsory. And Kyle, you've been a busy man. We've both been kind of all over the place, but this is the championship round. Concordia is now taking the mat. So what is the key here as they are competing right now in the acro event?
I think the thing that they have shown is that they want to be clean, and cleanliness is next to godliness for it when it comes to Concordia, Wisconsin, as they're going to go with a little bit lower start values at times, but they've gotten here throughout the entire year because they've been good at what they do, and we're going to see that as they go through. Right now, they're competing in 8.0 compulsory, which means they've pulled back on just a couple of the skills that are the baseline minimum, and so they're willing to take an automatic 2-point deduction just to be clean. Right there is one of them. Instead of having to switch when they go up to the top, you're going to see it from UMHB that they're going to go up with one foot, they're going to switch to the other foot, and instead of maybe risking a fall, they're just going to say, hey, we're going to roll with what we've got. UMHB is going to come out, and they're going to go with 10.0. Most of UMHB start values are going to be higher than Concordia, Wisconsin's, and UMHB is banking on we just have more skills in the bag.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just looking at the start values, like you said, 10s across the board from UMHB, but that's no surprise to a team that is no stranger to the championship round. UMHB, again, like you said, like you have been saying throughout this weekend, that they are, have built a name in acrobatics and tumbling. And if I can think of any Division III team to help put acro and tumbling on the map, it would be UMHB. I mean, let's just face it here, as they are just about to get set to go here. So, again, for them, they come in with a dominant performance in the first round on Friday, or rather Thursday.
That's right.
See, I'm still getting my days mixed up, Kyle. Right. I keep thinking that we're one day removed. But on Thursday, dominant performance for sure over Buffalo State there, able to get the win and the bye on yesterday. And so after a great performance in the event finals, which you had to call solo because I was across the way doing lacrosse.
Well, that's what the interesting thing is. I call most of these solo, so it felt normal when, but I've enjoyed doing this where I've got somebody to talk to and bounce off of it. It's amazing what having a partner actually will do for you.
Yeah.
As UMHB, you talked about it, trying to put Division III acro and tumbling on the map. 3-time defending national champion. Twice they've competed in the overall nationals and have stood their own. A narrow 1-point loss to Oregon last year.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is incredible. And so ranked number 13 nationally right now. Not sure if they're going to be able to make it this year. As they're into the compulsory acro, they go with the full back tuck. We saw that Concordia, Wisconsin did just a straight drop off. They go with the back tuck. Now into this straddle, really nice straddle. And the vertical, so a great job.
Great job, wow.
Going to go unsupported. We talk about the bases of UMHB, how strong they are, and look at the positioning of the tops. Just so straight up and down. A little bit off on the timing. Now watch the feet. They're going to go up with one foot. They're going to let go and switch to the other foot. Bam right there, a nice job as they're going to go into the arabesque. They're going to look right at the judges, say, hey, you see that? And the drop with the 360. And so UMHB's off to a pretty good start, I'd say.
I would say so. I mean, that was as clean as we've seen pretty much all tournament, the last 3 or so days. I mean, I didn't see anything that would significantly hurt them as far as the judges and what they're looking for out there.
Yeah, and I think it was a good start for UMHB because one of the things that the scoring, not just the scoring over the whole year, but the start values in general really does favor UMHB. And so what's important for UMHB is you avoid the major mistake. If you don't have the big falls, you don't have the big tumbles, you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have some things not go your way, but can you avoid the massive failure? And really not just the massive failure, can you avoid multiple and compounding those? They've got so much room to give with start values that as we move through this meet, it's about trying to take care of business. And for Concordia, it's about continuing to answer the call of we're going to do exactly what we can do, and we're going to go first. We're going to do it cleanly. We're going to force you to follow us after doing it cleanly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, they've looked very, very sharp, like you said. And it's going to be interesting here as Concordia now has taken the mat as we move into the pyramid event, a possible start value of 10. So we'll see here their response. Again, they went first. They looked fairly clean as well.
They absolutely did, and they're going to go here. What we've seen from Concordia is they do have very strong bases, and so they're going to get set up. They're going to go into this thigh stand straddle. So 2 bases are going to be holding on the foot on the thigh. Those middle bases engaging the lats. Those hands are right over their heads. Nice straddle from each of these. Are going to go with that front layout over and down. And here's the deal. That's a 10.0 possible start value, and they went with the 10.0, and they nailed it. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, they did an excellent job. Again, it's at this point, everything is looking sharp, pristine, which is saying a lot because, I mean, these ladies have been very busy these last few days. So fatigue is going to wear in. Some soreness is going to wear in. Some mental fatigue is going to wear in. But Concordia, good start for sure. I think UMHB so far, of course, haven't seen their pyramid just yet. But based on what they've just shown in the acro event, I think I got them a little bit ahead right now, but not by much. These teams are neck and neck.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be neck and neck for a while as they try to put this together and as they move forward. You talk about fatigue, and it is something to think about, as even though each of these teams had a bye at some point during the week, during the weekend, UMHB yesterday, Concordia, Wisconsin the day before, they did have the event finals this morning. So they've already gone through.
This is true, yeah.
Yeah, even though they didn't have the compulsory and they didn't have the team event, they basically went through everything else this morning, as UMHB actually may feel a little bit more fatigued. UMHB competed in every single event. Concordia, Wisconsin competed in about half of the events, and which is incredibly respectable as well. And so, trying to make sure, but also these ladies are refined college athletes who have been doing this all year, and sometimes that's what shows is under fatigue, you will regress back to your training. And so I think we're going to see how good the training is for both of these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And that absolutely can play a huge factor in their performance. I mean, doing the event finals, had a couple of hours off in between before, but, I mean, it could come down to the stretch, and that could end up being the difference, the fresher team taking the win.
Yeah, another really nice pyramid from the Crusaders as you see very solid from the bases. Not a lot of movement up top. McKaylin Fry, one of the athletes, has worked her way into this period as the season has gone on, and a great job. So we see real steady from Concordia, real steady from UMHB, and I think to this point, this is exactly what you're wanting to see in a national championship meet with your number 1 versus your number 2.
Yeah, you do. Again, it's a battle of 2 big-time heavyweight schools here as the number 2 seeded Falcons and the number 1 seeded Crew as we await the next event in our compulsory here. But kind of looking at things as the toss is coming up.
Yes.
What is something, again, one of the questions I had for you, Kyle, as you've been calling this thing for a couple years now, in a championship round, a meet of this significance, do you want to go try to be more extravagant, or is the goal to, just play it safe and just try to be as clean as you possibly can? What's the kind of the mindset you think?
Well, I'm going to answer that right after this toss. I want to be able to give a good look at the toss as, boy, a good look straight on. They're going to go with the back tuck to lay out, and a really nice job on the back tuck to lay out as being very consistent, really a quality toss, a quality catch. And UMHB is going to answer. And I think the thing is doing exactly what you've done. One of the things is you can make some small adjustments as you go, but when you get to this point, you have drilled these movements. You've drilled it with the same people. You've drilled it in the same order. You've drilled it the same way. By this point, the adjustments are pretty much over, and it comes down to execution. As when you're going out there, are you going to hit the tumbling pass? Are you going to have the right body position when it comes on the toss, as we just saw? Those are the types of things really difficult, because if you would have been able to accomplish some of those higher start values in the middle of the year, you would have been doing them. There may be. You may come into this and you may go from a 9.0 to a 9.2 or an 8.8 to a 9.0. But to say that you're going to come in and, hey, we've been competing an 8.0 on the compulsory acro all year long, to go, hey, we're going to go out there and do a 10 this time when you haven't been doing
you haven't
those
done
things.
that, yeah.
So really it just comes down to you've got to be clean and you've got to run your race. As I think we use that across all sports for metaphors, is you got to run your race, and your race is what it is. For Concordia, Wisconsin, your race is we're going to be clean and we're going to be consistent all the way through. We're not going to have the major drops. For UMHB, their race is we think that we can accomplish more skills better than you can, and so we see what's going to play out as it goes on.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting chess match here, as the crew will take the mat here as they get set for the toss event.
And interesting from the Crusaders, so they named first and second team all conference, or excuse me, not all conference, first and second team all tournament. Jenna Hall, your top on the left, is first team all tournament. And Casey Hedrick, your top on the right, is second team all conference. So you can see UMHB really having a couple of tops that are very strong, very high back tuck to lay out, as you see them finishing that or following that up after Concordia, Wisconsin, and a little bit higher for the Crusaders. We talk about the strength of UMHB's bases. We've talked about it for a long time, quite frankly, starting with one of the assistant coaches over there, Caitlin Kolajizik, a two-time Division III Athlete of the Year, and she was one of the best bases, if not maybe the best base that Division III's ever seen. I know that I say that from someone who has seen a lot of UMHB, so you'll forgive me. I trust me, I understand.
That's all right.
But looking back at some of the awards that she's won, looking back at some of the things that she's done, I think that that's backed up statistically, not just from my very meaningless opinion.
Right.
But you have that. You have Rafael Escato, who was a base for Baylor and a three-time national champion with the Bears. And so they really have. They've brought that, and they bring a lot of excellence and a lot of strength. The strength program at UMHB has been a very big benefit for the Crusaders, as well, as they hired Cade Stubing, and he's worked with a lot of the teams and really has done a good job with UMHB. And is Concordia, Wisconsin going to come out now? And so we've done the toss. Now we're going to come out for the tumbling, and Concordia, Wisconsin is going to come out. They're going to go with a 10.0. We've seen a couple of teams pull back to the 8.0. They're going to go 10.0, and they have a full contingent of 8 ladies on the floor. They're going to start off with a back tuck. They're going to go up, trying to stay right in place and land in sync. And a good synchronization, one step forward from the Falcons, but otherwise pretty good, into a toe touch and then a back tuck. A
little stumble there from number 12.
Yeah, just a little stumble, or big step forward, as she wasn't able to get all the way back onto those heels. And then a back handspring, back tuck, oh boy, as she goes all the way down.
Yeah, she goes down.
And so maybe just a little technical issue that she's not really cleaning up as the round goes on. They're going to go into a round off back handspring, back layout. And the Falcons going to complete that. So a couple of issues, and got a little bit out of sync when it came to the running, tumbling, but complete it. They've got the 10 points on the table, and we're going to see how UMHB responds to it.
Yeah, well, UMHB, again, when you're going up against a team that has won 3 championships and has competed at the national level, I mean, you can't afford to kind of have those kinds of mistakes. Really, I mean, it's a game of a competition of margins. Like so many of these competitions have been over the weekend. Very few have been outright just victories. You know, there's been a lot of chess matches going on, a lot of different things that little tweaks here that end up making a huge difference in the competition.
Well, and so, to give a great example of that and not use, the two teams we have on the floor, let's talk about the two teams that went first on both days in Calvin and Stevenson. Calvin and Stevenson met to open up this tournament. Calvin struggled in the compulsory element on day number 1. They wind up losing 7 points to Stevenson to start off. They lose the whole meet by 4 points. So they made up some ground but had to work their way out of it. The next day, they still had a deficit to Stevenson, but they were much closer because they were much cleaner in the compulsory as those two teams played first on each day. They didn't have a team event, so they were still here. They went ahead, and we got a chance to see them do the meet twice. And Calvin cleaned some stuff up and then takes the victory on day number 2. And so it's exactly what you said is really sometimes the problems that you have, if you can avoid those and clean them up, that's what's going to make the difference in the meet.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at, again, you brought up, Calvin University and Stevenson. I mean, I got to say, the Knights looked like a completely different team just about that next day. And we even were talking about how much more exciting that matchup was on the second day than on the first day.
Well, and it is because also the longer that you stay clean and the longer that you feel like you stay in the meet, the more energy you get. We've talked about the amount of energy the sport requires and necessitates. And so as they're out on the mat, the longer that this stays a great competition, the longer that they are battling back and forth, the more energized they get because that's what they're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. UMHB will take the mat now as they look to respond in the tumbling event. So we'll see how they are able to execute here. So far, very sharp, just about flawless in my eyes, but again, it's going to be the judges to make the final call.
That's right, going to get an opportunity. So a back tuck here, really nice back tuck. Honestly, just one little lean to the left on your screen from the middle, but then the toe touch into the back tuck. No movement, straight up, straight down, back handspring, back tuck. As looking for really great synchronization as they move to the back of the mat. They're going to turn to the side and head down for the running tumbling. Again, round off, back handspring, back tuck. Let's look for the synchronization. Long bodies as those legs come around. And a pretty good job from the Crusaders as, a little bit off on the synchronization. Saw a little bit, instead of the long body, maybe getting that line in the middle broken at the hips.
Yeah.
And again, that's if we're being super picky. You and I, we're not really all that picky.
Yeah, we're really not.
We're just here for a good time. We want to enjoy and watch these ladies compete. We know the judges, though, are going to be making their deductions as they go through.
Absolutely. Well, we're here for a good time. We all know we've already been here for a long time, so
right.
Might as well have a good time while we're here.
That's right.
But we'll be right back here on the ETB Plus Network. We're going to have the judges tally up those scores. We'll move into the next event, which will be the Acro event. So tune, folks. This is the ETB Plus Network.
The second event, the Acro, marks the beginning of the optional portion of the meet. Each team will compete with skills previously chosen with different possible start values. There will be between 2 and 4 athletes in a group on the floor in each of the 3 heats. Heat 1 has 5 elements, Heat 2 has 6 elements, and Heat 3 has 7 elements. The start value is determined by the difficulty and combination of each skill. In addition, each position must be held for 3 seconds. This event demonstrates power, strength, and balance.
We are back here on the ETBU Plus Network. We've got the scores for the compulsory event of this championship tallied up. In the Acro, 6.75 from Concordia, 9.075 from UMHB, 9.45 in the Pyramid for Concordia. UMHB, let's see, 9.675, so a couple of high scores.
Expected that.
Yeah, absolutely. In the toss, Concordia with a 9.075. UMHB, let's see, with a score of 9.825. Wow.
That's huge.
Yeah, which, again, no surprises there as well. They've looked pretty flawless. In the tumbling, 3.125. Concordia took a couple of hard falls there. And UMHB 7.85. So a pretty sizable advantage here coming down to the last two events. 28.40 from Concordia. And for UMHB, 36.425. So early 8-point advantage for the crew.
And really, 8-point advantage for the Crusaders, but pretty normal for what these two teams have done. That's the third highest compulsory total on the year for the Falcons. It's the fourth highest compulsory total on the year for the Crusaders. So really, coming out of it, if they're not paying attention to the other team, they say, okay, we're doing what we've done all year long as we're moving now into the acro element. So we've got the 5 element, a 6 element, and a 7 element. Name for how many elements are going to be into the rotation here. So 5 is going to start. They're going to go with the walk-in. So that's going to be 1 element. They're going to go with the back layout off. Should be back tuck off. So 2 elements, and then we're going to see 3, 4, 5 as they're going to move into the setup here. So they're going to with the mount and then into the straddle. Really nice job on the straddle. Concordia, Wisconsin has a couple of really great tops that have some beautiful straddles into an unsupported overhead. There's going to be an inverted element on all the acros, and a really nice job from the Falcons.
Great job for sure, and again, looking pretty flawless. So some of the things that we talked about just coming out of that compulsory event, the tumbling event. Again, we saw them take a couple falls there on the back row. So hopefully, again, it doesn't play into their mentality as we head to the later rounds of this, especially in the championship. Yeah. It's going to be huge. And I think really that is what made, the big difference and allowed UMHB to be able to get that 8-point lead.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things that when we look at, you see it was the third highest compulsory total on the year. And we talk about running your race, is if you don't look across the mat and see what they did, if you look up and go, hey, that's about the same number that we're used to seeing, it doesn't necessarily throw you off. Yes, they did have unfortunate stumbles in the tumbling, but if you go, you know what, that was disappointing. However, we made up for it in some other areas where we're sitting right where we usually sit. You have a better little boost moving in.
Yeah.
So what you saw from Concordia, Wisconsin was a 9.05 start value. You're going to see a 10.0 here for the Crusaders as Claire Couples is your main base. Jenna Kraft's going to be behind her. Jenna Hall is your top. And Hall, a senior here, this is her final event of her career. It's been a good one as they're going to go with a half round. And a nice half round. Nice and steady right there from Couples and Hall.
Barely any movement at all, if any.
And just like it's not very hard, she's going to go with the press out. Nice and steady as Couples. You can see those lats engaging. And how about a beautiful 360 descent? Really solid, no bounce whatsoever. As Crafts is going to throw Hall onto Couples.
Wow.
And very steady as Savannah Hall, your counter, counts out 3. And the Crusaders, pretty good 5 element, I'd say.
That's an amazing 5 element. We see now how they were able to compete with a few of these Division I opponents. Like Oregon. I would have loved to have actually been there at that meet to see exactly how that all transpired. But we see why. Flawless on the mount, flawless on the dismount, and then the execution, of course, for UMHB. An A+ in my book. That's the grade I'm giving them.
No, absolutely. And you talk about trying to be at that event against Oregon. I'll tell you, I've tried to finagle some plane tickets from the university a couple of times out to watch Oregon. They had a spring break trip a couple years ago to play the University of Hawaii in Hawaii. So I was doing my best to go out and see if I could get a plane ticket. didn't work out, unfortunately.
Wow, yeah, man, that might be, unless you're a well-traveled guy, you kind of seem to be to me, but, I mean, unless that's the case, that might have been your only chance to get to Hawaii on somebody else's dime.
That's right. There are some well-traveled points in my life, and yet all of them have come out of my own pocket.
Right, exactly. Absolutely. But so far, UMHB, again, looking very, very sharp. Concordia about to take the mat for heat number 2 here of the acro event. Let's see what they have up their sleeves here.
So a start value of 8.30. The 6 element is a synchronized element. So 2 groups going to be doing the exact same thing. As on the floor, your top's going to be Elena Schroeder and Riley Binley. It's just a little bit of a lean to the left from Schroeder. They're going to go with a straight drop off. And now going to move into, so the rear mount into a straddle. Or excuse me, not into the straddle. They're going to go straight into the overhead inversion. And really nice job from the bases. You look at how steady everybody is. And so they're going to drop off. And, again, still very steady. Not a lot of movement. A good job from the Falcons as they complete their 6 elements. And, really, with the exception of a little balance check to get things started off, pretty clean from the Falcons with the 8.30 start value.
Yeah, very clean. I'm most impressed once again with the bases and their strength, able to hold up the formation there. Hardly any movement, and again, at this level, once you have reached the championship, match, I mean, everybody knows it's do or die, and so again, everything has to be so precise at this point, and both teams are really displaying that for sure right now.
Yeah, and I think to use just the most obvious pun on the face of the earth, really when you're building the acro team, especially at the Division III level, when you're limited, you don't have maybe the scholarships to go out and get some of the big-time tumblers. Now, don't get me wrong, we have some amazing tumblers, but in terms of just the in competition for getting some of those athletes, for Division III, they really have to build from the ground up. And when you build from the ground up, if you've got strong bases, you're going to be a quality team. And I think, and no shade to anybody else that has competed, we've seen amazing athletes, but I think these 2 teams have had the strongest entire groups of bases. We've seen how good that they have been. Their middle bases are fantastic. I'm really excited to see how that plays out today because I think these 2 groups of middle bases are the most solid when it comes to, they really just don't move a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's like they're holding up a building themselves, a part of that foundation. So, yeah, not a lot of movement whatsoever. And so I think, in turn, that makes it a little bit harder on the judges. Or at least to us, because we don't really know.
Well, it definitely does to us. That's right. We're just kind of appreciating some great acro and tumbling this weekend. So UMHB is going to come out, and they're going to go with a 9.8. So, again, about a 1.5 difference in the start value. This is where UMHB tries to distance themselves, especially when it comes to the acro elements. The 6 element, they're going to go with they need to be synchronized. Jenna Hall on the left, the senior. On the right is Annie Battistella, a big size difference here, about 5'9" and 5'2", as Battistella working with Podsednik. Podsednik, a senior. Val Guevara, a senior. So a couple of senior bases and a really nice job on the push press into this balanced element. Hands right by your side, not using those for balance. And a really good job as they're going to drop off a 360 descent from the tops.
Wow.
Solid once again. And we're going to see the throw right into the inversion. This is where UMHB had a little bit of a bobble earlier this week on the right side. As a good job, Emily Kithill handles Annie Battistella very well at the top. And the Crusaders with another really nice round. We've said it a lot throughout the weekend. For those of you that maybe haven't heard this yet, you're joining us for the very first time. If you watch the cameras, they're going to let you know how the event went. The ladies are going to respond when they did really well. You're going to see huge smiles. You're going to see celebrations. Yeah. You're going to hear the roar of the benches. And so if something went really well, because here's the deal. they know the sport better than anybody else, and they also know how things went because they've seen it not just all the times in competitions, they've seen it every single day in practice. And when it goes well, they're the first people to know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the first ones to know about it, and we end up knowing about it up here above the stands. But once again, UMHB, I mean, just very, very impressed with the movement, with what they've been able to do so far here today. And once again, I mean, when you look at them, the poise, the execution, the flawless routines there, I mean, I would not be surprised if we start to see more 9s on the board throughout the night in terms of scoring. And again, we've said this before, but there's a reason why these are national champions multiple times over.
Yeah, absolutely is. We're going to get into the 7 element now. Concordia, Wisconsin coming onto the floor, a 10.0 with the 7 element. Excited to see this as on the floor, Emily Ruka, Jaden Vale, Ainsley Taylor, and Lydia Street. So Ruka was named all conferences or all tournament as well. Ruka is your top with Jaden Vale as your base. Oh boy, how strong is that from Vale? She winds up having that foot go out, brings it back in. That's so strong.
Still holding steady for the most part.
That's right, so they go back to the half round, and then the press, a nice job from Vale. Ruka stays perfectly still, going to go into a balance element. Back down, big smile on the face of Ruka as they drop off. And one final, it's a great looking element, right? Real nice aesthetic to it. The spin right up, and they're so good at this.
Spin.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see, Ainsley Taylor, she's a taller athlete, so she gets those legs wide.
That's a good,
yeah,
good
nice
showing.
Yeah, absolutely. So she gets those legs wide, so that way she can lower her base a little bit, receive Ruka on that inversion, and a really nice job. Boy, Mark, I'm so impressed with Vale there. Vale, so on the half
I was just getting
round,
ready to say, yeah.
Boy, the foot gets away from her, and she goes, that arm has to open. It rotates at the elbow. I thought as soon as that arm started to rotate that they were going to ground because that is such a difficult position, and she just pulls that right back in.
Yeah, she pulled it right back in, and like you said, I mean, I thought it was about to be a tough fall as well, but that's great recovery and great awareness, and more than anything, an amazing show of strength to be able to hold her up and then pull her right back in.
Yeah, and strength, and we've talked about this before. Think about the mental fortitude it takes. You have that. So not only do you have Vale, who sees that, feels that go out, you also have Ruka. Ruka's looking straight forward, and then all of a sudden, the ground effectively falls out from under her.
Basically.
I mean, she's standing there, and you're expecting solidity, and then all of a sudden, you start going down. She's able to keep her balance, and not only that, but when they get her back up, they complete it, and they do a beautiful job from that point on. I think that was a really nice job. Disappointed, obviously, to see the slip up. That's going to be a deduction, but really good job from the Falcons in terms of fortitude and recovery.
And, yeah, like you said, great job getting back into it. And the thing that's also impressive, too, is that could have had the chance to be a pretty disastrous fall because when the ground comes up from underneath you all of a sudden like that, you tend to tense up expecting to hit the ground, and that's when, you may twist an ankle, you may mess up some ligaments there, maybe even some broken bones, a broken foot. Yeah. But they avoided all of that all at once.
Yeah, and luckily, the mat's here, about a 3-inch mat. It's great for at least cushioning the fall a little bit. It's not a spring mat. We'll talk about that when we get to some of the tumbling.
Yeah.
But it's also the give is better than a gym floor, but it's not exactly a comfort pillow.
It still hurts when you hit the ground. Is basically what you're saying, relaying to the audience.
Right. As UMHB is going to come out, they got a 10.0 here on this 7 element. They're going to go straight into extension. Now, I've talked about it before. Natalie Podsednik is absolutely fantastic. It's going to be really weird to go through a season without calling her name next year, as she's been one of the best bases around. The spirit fingers from UMHB, I've seen that all year long. Kylie Jones is a great personality. She's the one who started that. Nice 360 off. They're going to go into a heel pinch and then another half round. Just beautiful and absolutely steady to move into the inversion element. Podsednik is going to turn to her right and hand off Hedrick to Kylie Jones. Look at how tall Kylie Jones stands. She's stable on those legs. And Crusaders finish off
That's a great job.
acro round with a really nice 7-element.
Yeah, that was an amazing way to kind of close things out. And again, putting further pressure on Concordia. Concordia has responded well, but I still have UMHB in the lead as far as our unofficial scores will go. But we're going to take a quick step aside. Coming up next is going to be the Pyramid event. 3 heats of that. 10s across the board for UMHB. When we get sneak peek in a moment, these people's work they do.
Third event is the pyramid event. The pyramid event will be the final event in the first half. In the pyramid event, athletes will build 3 layers in a structure. The start value of each heat is determined by the difficulty and the combination of the entry, structure, and dismount. The pyramid event has 3 different heats with different requirements for each heat. Heat 1 must be an inversion, Heat 2 must be synchronized, and Heat 3 is an open heat. 2 key things the officials will be looking out for are the position of the top and the stability of the structure.
And we're back here on the HB Plus Network. We got the scores for you in the Acro event. Concordia with an 8.15 with a start value of 9.05 in the 5 element. UMHB with a 9.35 in their 5 element. Start value of 10 there. In the 6 element, 7.025 for Concordia. And for UMHB, a 9.375. No surprises there. Both teams with a start value of 10.0 in the 7 element. Concordia earns an 8.35. And then in the 7 element for UMHB, a 9.35. Total scores for Concordia, 23.525. And for UMHB, 28.075. So roughly a 4.5, 5-point lead after that in that acro category. 51.925 for Concordia. For UMHB, 64.50. And so we talked about it off the air a little bit, Kyle, as they're going to go first here, Concordia with the pyramid. The energy looks a little bit down for the Falcons. I wonder if that has to do with the fact that they're essentially competing 3 times in a row, or, you know, what could be kind of the factor there? Nerves perhaps settling in, or?
Yeah, you're not real sure, but honestly, we're going to get a chance to see here with the Pyramids. I think the Pyramid is a really great reset for the Falcons. Such strong bases, such good Pyramids. They're going to go 9.7 and then a 10 and a 10. They're going to go inverted here. We saw a really good inversion Pyramid from them yesterday as they defeated trying to get here, and they're going to hang on. Wait, drop over. You'll forgive me.
Wow.
So we're a little bit higher than the Pyramid from our angle. So you guys will forgive me. I do have very much of the nervous fan because looking at that, you could see the lean immediately. So I think everybody
Yeah.
heard me start to panic.
I was gonna say no. I was silent as well. As soon as I saw the lean, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if they're gonna hold that one.
Yeah, because I was honestly what I was really worried about is I was worried about her going straight to the side. Not much anybody can do if she goes straight to the side, but they do a good job coming down over the top of it. And here's the deal. It's not a massive failure on the pyramid. They got into the pyramid. They got into the overhead position. And then they wind up having to take several steps to the side to receive her out of that position. But it's not like it's a disaster. It's not going to be a 5.0 pyramid or a 2.0.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things. It's just continuing to make sure that you're doing those. Here's the thing, too, and we talked about this in trying to continue with the energy, is that each of those teams, the scores that they had in the acro element, pretty much in line with what they've done all year long, as UMHB and Concordia, Wisconsin, wind up having having scores that were about their 4th and 5th best of the entire year. So neither of them did amazing, but also neither of them really did horribly worse than what it is that they usually do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. They're running your race, and you know, maybe people are going to turn it into a buzzword game for me when I say running your race. But the running your race is just like, if you look at the scoreboard and you go, okay, where have we been? Where do we expect to be? You can look at it, and if you avoid looking at the other number, and I think it's important for UMHB to avoid looking at Concordia, Wisconsin's number, and it's important the other way as well. You look at it and you go, okay, where are we supposed to be? Okay, maybe that's not quite where we wanted to be, but it's not like we are horribly off either.
Yeah, not horribly off for sure. Overall, facing a 13-point deficit in the total scores right now, but definitely more than enough ground to make up. But I tell you what, Kyle, I'm going to put, run your race. I want to put that on a T-shirt. If I was still in my track and field days, I definitely would think about doing it.
Hey, I'm going to make a special shirt with our faces and run your race on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you one of my best picks.
As UMHB going to start on a 10.0 pyramid, as just going to be 3 people involved. Maddie Malesic on the bottom. Savannah Hall is going to be your middle base, and Jenna Hall is your top. They're going to go into an inversion. Jenna Hall going to try and hold this as long as she can. Maddie Malesic pushing through the hands. Boy, how about a great hold?
That's a great hold.
And we've talked about it before. Anytime you see Jenna Hall's teeth as soon as it's over, it means it was a really nice effort from the Crusaders. She is a very fun young lady, but on the mat she is very composed, and when those teeth come out, it's a good score.
That's when you know it was a good one for sure. And just talking to her after the meet the other day here, again, I'm still getting my days mixed up. We've been up here for so long, but just talking to her, she was very positive, just kind of talking about, the faith aspect of things and how the role that plays for her. And it's shown, with the composure, not very, flustered when things, don't necessarily go the way that, they expect it to. And so she is definitely showing why she's among the leaders on this team, showing that senior leadership.
Yeah, I think ladies like Jenna, and I know that, Concordia, Wisconsin's got several of them, just real stalwarts as well on their sideline. It really shows you what having seniors who've been in your program for 4 years can do for you, as they kind of lead the way and everyone takes their cue from them. And I think that's one of the things that is really amazing about college sports, is that you have talented freshmen that come in and they can do some great things, but they don't know what they're going to gain over the next several years. And they can look at the seniors that are in front of them. And quite frankly, it's been a long time since I was in college. I wish that's one of the things I would have changed. As a freshman, I think I would have looked more at the seniors, not so much as you don't know what you're talking about and I'm trying to take your spot, but more as like, hey, you've been here for a while, you've done it successfully, what do you have to show me?
Yeah, absolutely. As Concordia has now taken to the mat here, they're going to do that same little –
bend bridge.
Bend bridge. I was going to say, trying to get the words out here.
I get it, man.
I still get nervous seeing that, though.
So a 10.0 and a synchronized element, as each of these are going to do the exact same thing. So the bridge at the bottom, they're going to go into a straddle. and a really nice straddle, really fighting. Nice job trying to avoid getting too far on the heels on the left side from the middle base. Coming down with a really great pyramid. And a good job. So you see, now look at that.
Job.
That's the excitement. That's really the first time that we've seen that type of excitement from the Falcons, and I absolutely love that. And let's give a lot of credit. You know, we were just talking about it. Let's give a lot of credit to Gabby Dixon. Gabby Dixon on the left, I believe, was the middle base that was on our left looking at it. If it wasn't Gabby, I apologize, but I think it was. It was one of the things I noticed is she did a great job. I could see the weight in her heels starting to rock back, and you're really trying to avoid getting the weight on your heels dug into the thigh of that base, because the more you go, you can't take a step back. If you take a step back, you're basically going to step on their belly button. Now all of a sudden the weight distribution is way off. She did a very good job, because in that straddle, one of the things that you need to avoid is having, when the top, having her shoulders roll back. If she rolls back, she's pulling that middle base back, and the more that you move that weight towards the center line of the bridge, the more that you're at risk of having it really have some issues. She did a really good job as she fought to make sure she kind of rocked back onto the heels just a little bit, got back onto the flat foot, and I just thought that was absolutely awesome. What a great job from her.
Yeah, great job for sure. And like you said, I'm keying in on the excitement for Concordia. Like you said, this is the first time that they have really, showed that level of excitement here for much of the meet. And so that could be a spark. And you kind of called it a little bit. You said that, the pyramid could be a good pickup for them. So far, it's showing that their energy, they're starting to get a little bit more festive, a little bit more back into the swing of things.
Yeah, and you kind of see the countenance on the sideline change in the faces. You got UMHB now. They're going to do a very similar thing. They're going to go here and look at Anna Batistella. She's going to lose it, and she's going to drop off to the back. And okay, so here's the deal. It was a really good example of what we were talking about. You saw it from the side as Batistella started to lose it backwards and did a great job of getting off to the side. I think you saw, I don't know if you saw it on the camera. We saw it here. A lot of hands started to go up as everybody, just like Kyle did, started to freak out. They don't want to have that drop back onto the base. And so what they had is she comes back, and then they bailed out of it. Really smart, they bailed out of it. It's one of the things they learned how to do is how do we bail well. And so that was actually a pyramid where Concordia, and you'll forgive me. So there's a Concordia in Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's like 2 or 3 in Texas.
So for those of you that are like, hey, why does he keep saying Concordia, Wisconsin? I apologize. That's kind of how I've always learned it, because we've got a Concordia in Texas. But the Falcons, that was a 10.0 pyramid for them, and it was actually a higher start value than UMHB.
Yeah.
And so UMHB has the massive drop. And look, we talked about this. When we talk about running your race, part of running your race is knowing when you're going to kick. So let's go for our track friends, as you are.
Here we go.
When you're going to kick, if your kick on the 200-meter is at the end, you don't panic because someone gets a lead on you right away. Now we have this. UMHB, we talked about it, is can Concordia run their race, do things well to put pressure on UMHB, and make UMHB continue to run their game and do it well. Now what we've seen is UMHB, and let's talk about this, is Annie Batistella is a freshman. She's a very talented freshman, but it's a national championship meet. She also had something she's never experienced this morning in the event finals. So right now, Annie Batistella as a freshman is going through some things that she's never gone through before.
This is true.
And now has this struggle. And again, look, it's a pyramid. There's a lot of people involved. I'm not just trying to blame Annie. But as the top, I want to kind of point out that now how does UMHB respond? Because can they pull back? What we saw is Rafaela Scotto brings her entire team in and is really she was emphatic in her discussion. She wasn't like yelling, but it was an emphatic talk to her team, maybe trying to say, hey, by the way, still a meet going on. Like we got out to a big lead, but if you don't continue to do your job, or here it is, run your race.
Run your race. There we go.
If you don't continue to do that, then that's where you're going to allow that leakage, and all of a sudden you're going to look up, and it's a 4-point lead going into team event, and then anything can happen.
Anything can happen, absolutely. But so far here, as we're about to head to heat number 3 of the pyramid here, just before we are about to head into halftime before the toss.
And another
Concordia hits the mat.
Yeah, sorry about that. Another 10.0 pyramid for the Falcons, as they're going to get some. You see a lot of ladies on. This is the open pyramid. This is where you throw out your best pyramid, the best scoring pyramid you got. And so they're going to get set up as your middle base. There's Jaden Vale. We've talked about how good she is, and she's going to combine with Ruka. Ruka also incredible. They're going to go up, and they go straight in. Can they hang on to it? Vale's going to press it out.
Yes, they do.
A nice press from Vale. You see a big smile on her face. And drop it down. A good job. Is that 10.0?
Yeah, that's a great job by the Falcons for sure. I mean, for a half second, it looked like things were going to go a little bit south, but they were able to stay composed and continue with the execution.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how you judge the type of strength that Jaden Vale has. But
yeah.
However you could do that, I'd like to hear whatever those metrics are. I mean, again, I don't know if that shows up in a power clean or a squat or anything like that. But whatever it is that Jaden Vale has that is just that stick-to-it strength that I'm not going to let this fall, she's absolutely got that. And I love to see that really fighting through. And that's a really tough pyramid because they're throwing, again, we talk about it with, let's say, UMHB and their 7 element. They go straight in from the ground, straight into an extension for the base. Well, they did the same thing, but they did it with another level. So the middle base who's going to extension is not on the ground.
Yeah.
They have someone else throwing onto the middle base who is standing on someone else. It's almost one of those where that type of pyramid, like I want to give it more than a 10.0.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wish we could do that for sure. But going back to what you were saying about Jaden Vale that's just good old-fashioned gym strength.
That's right.
I'm going to go in the gym, I'm going to hit weights, and I'm going to meet all my marks there. And she showed that for sure. Incredible strength from the middle base. And like I said, throughout this meet, Kyle, the middle base I think is becoming my favorite thing to watch, especially when it comes to these pyramids and even in some of these acro events as well.
So speaking of a difficult pyramid with a press out at the top, we're going to see UMHB with a 10.0 pyramid as they're going to get into position, a double thigh stand. Natalie Podsednik in the middle. Jenna Hall is going to get onto the shoulders of Podsednik, and from here they're going to go to a press out. And so that press out, a push press position, they're going to, nice and stable. Podsednik is strong. Hall goes straight to the top.
Wow.
Look at how good that is.
That's
holding
incredible.
It perfect, and then the drop off, a really good job from the Crusaders.
That's incredible.
Yeah, really awesome. And here's the deal. I think, okay, if you're a Crusader fan, that was the perfect time to have that pyramid come out. And here's why. One, it's been their best. They've got a 10.0 on that this year. Here's the other thing. UMHB almost swept the event finals. They only lost one element in the event finals. It was that pyramid. So if there's any group of ladies that was motivated to literally put up as close to a 10.0 as possible, it was that group of ladies. So to come back after the struggle in the synchronization to have that pyramid coming out, things really, I think, worked out well for the Crusaders to have them come out at that point.
I absolutely agree. I mean, barely any words there because, I mean, that it looked flawless, absolutely flawless for sure. Very interested to see how the judges are going to mark that one, but we're going to take a step aside. Guess what? It's halftime, our second favorite time of the day, or at least mine. I haven't talked to Kyle about it yet. We'll talk about it during the half, but we'll be right back here on ETB Plus Network for the 26 NCATA 3
fourth event is toss. The toss event, you will see 4 athletes toss a teammate into the air. The teammate tossed into the air, known as a top, will execute a flip or twist before being caught. There are 3 heats in this event. The synchronized toss features 2 toss groups. These groups should look exactly alike and be in sync. The start value of the toss depends on the skills that the top executes in the air. Officials will be looking for height, the top's body position, and tight catches by the bases.
Just back from halftime, the scores from the pyramid are in as we thought Concordia, Wisconsin was going to have a good one, and they closed the gap a little bit. UMHB on the pyramid, I apologize, they were making an adjustment to the score sheet as I was looking down, so I got a little bit distracted. In the inversion pyramid, the Falcons score 7.350. UMHB scores a 9.625. That is a gigantic score, but it is answered by the 9.50 in the synchro pyramid from the Falcons. We talked about how good that was, and they absolutely scored that. UMHB a 6.4, so a little bit of a change from what you saw on screen. The judges just made an update there. So a 6.40 for UMHB. In the open pyramid, a 9.150 for the Falcons and a 9.875, a massive score for UMHB. We talked about that was the pyramid that they needed, and they got it back as the Falcons of Concordia, Wisconsin, a 26.0 on the event. UMHB 25.90, so the Falcons actually take the event by a 1/10 of a point. Your current total, UMHB is in the lead 90.40 to 77.925 for Concordia, Wisconsin. So about a 12.5 point lead for the Crusaders as we head into the toss event for UMHB, as they're actually going through the updates now, Mark.
I was going to say, it looks like I missed a lot. I didn't think it was going to end up, being a completely, switching up the scores a little bit, but wow.
Well, and so I think the 6.40 from the synchro pyramid, obviously UMHB has the fall, but they kind of got scored like they didn't even have a second pyramid on the floor. I think there was the question there. The judges go back, take a look. And then with the open pyramid, we talked about it. It's a 10.0 pyramid, and they got scored a 9.3 initially. I'm almost wondering, maybe there was just something that went on with somebody hitting the wrong button.
Maybe.
Because, we're not scoring experts, but boy, it was hard to see that they lost 0.7 of a point on that pyramid. But we're going to move into the toss element now as the Salto. Oh boy.
Somebody coming out a little bit late there.
Where's our counter? And everybody kind of looked at each other going,
Right. Yeah, like you said, it might have been a case of pressing the wrong button. I mean, working in broadcasting for years, we know the danger of pressing the wrong button.
That's absolutely right. As a back tuck to layout goes back to the right just a little bit. You see it on your screen. The throw, you could see her in the air move backwards just a little bit, but a pretty good job. And quite frankly, you're going to get thrown off just a little bit when you have that type of delay in the first toss, as there's a little bit of uncertainty about who was, I think really mainly just who was the counter. So everybody that was supposed to be doing the toss was on the floor, but coming out of halftime, a little bit of a hiccup. And really, yeah, kind of everything thrown off because of the score corrections. And I think
right.
they announced it in the stadium. We didn't come back when they announced it, but then I was talking getting tripped up while they were actually going through it on the score sheet in front of me. Then they do it on the stadium. And again, Mark, it's one of those things that while things are supposed to function a certain way, how are you going to respond whenever things don't go your way? Maybe it's a fall, or maybe it's, oh, hey, wait a minute, the announcer is grabbing the microphone and coming back and saying, oh, wait, we're going to make some adjustments to scores.
Right, absolutely. And so it seems like everybody's trying to kind of get back into the swing of things here after the 15-minute halftime or so. But I got to tell you, looking forward to seeing how this one really plays out. UMHB with a just under 13-point or so lead right now, 90.40 to 77 for Concordia here, Concordia, Wisconsin, that is, as UMHB will now take to the mat
UMHB with a 9.90. So Concordia just completed an 8.80 toss. UMHB going to go a 9.90. And here's what you're going to see. You're going to see a back layout with a 720. So she's going to do 2 full twists in the air. And Jenna Hall's going to be moving in a hurry.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see here.
And a really good
landing.
job, yeah. As you know, the landing, and maybe just a little bit broken at the hip when she landed, but a very good landing from Jenna Hall, and really nice on the 720. I mean, look, you think about 2 spins, how on earth she keeps track of where she is and when
That's
she's
true.
supposed to open up for the catch is pretty impressive. And again, just shows the work that they put in throughout the year.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I knew if I was up there spinning around multiple times, I wouldn't know if down was up or up was down, but she did a great job there of, again, that trust factor coming into play. Her team was right there to catch after the execution there, and so great job all the way around from the crew. And again, they've scored some really heavy 9s throughout this tournament. That's the one thing I wanted to get back to, just seeing that, the execution has been flawless here from the crew here today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously just the one major bobble, but outside of that, it's been largely pretty clean from the Crusaders, and it's what they've done such a good job of. Obviously, this year they've gotten much better at the toss. They're getting really good marks on the toss and doing obviously very good on the pyramids. They've always been good in the first half. They've kind of slowed down in the second half, and this year, the Crusaders trying to continue to push forward as going to be an NCAA sport next year. They're going to have the NCAA championship, so exciting for the sport. And UMHB trying to keep a stranglehold on that top spot. But the Falcons now trying to make a push as the synchro toss going to be a back layout, a 9.0. Good look at it. Look at the lines. Look at the straight body. Yes, good straight bodies. A little bit of a movement to the left on this right side toss that we had, but otherwise pretty good. I think I enjoy the angles that they give you. We talked about that earlier, that part of the strategy is they're going to show you the direction that they want you to see. They want you to look from certain angles. They face right at you, and they're going to go with those long, nice layouts. It's going to be a real good look as you're not necessarily going to see struggle front to back. You may see it on step side to side, but you got to see the really nice lines. You saw their chest for a while, and then as they rotate over, you lose it before the feet come through and come back. So a really good job, a 9.0 start value for the Falcons.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that's why the starting positions on the mat are so important. Again, just another layer of what makes this sport so unique and so intricate. Just the way that the team was able to kind of line up there, because when you're looking straight on and you're a judge right at that table, you're just seeing the straight lines, and so like you said, very hard to really determine if anybody else was out of position or egregiously out of position or so, unless you see a little step to the side or anything like that. But for the most part, your eye is going to go to that straight line that's created in the formation. So very tactical, so to speak.
Yeah, and it really speaks to, that these coaches, this is a big-time position for these coaches to be in, and there's a lot that goes into it from strategy perspectives with building your team, building routines, where they're going to face, what they're going to do. This is a major, major psychological game that these coaches play. UMHB going to run a 9.4, so they're going to go a back layout with a 360. So you're going to see the same layout, but you're going to have a full twist in the air. Casey Hedrick on the right, Jenna Hall on the left. And a nice job. We talked about they spin different ways, and it kind of gives it a fun look. But a good job from the Crusaders with a celebration on the way off. A 9.40 start value. And this is where, again, the Crusaders have improved this over the years, and they've got some significantly higher start values than their competition, especially at the Division III level. UMHB had some competition against some Division I's this year in Baylor. They played against Gannon, Augustana, and so UMHB having a more difficult schedule. We'll see where that goes in the future with it being a Division III sport. I'm not sure if teams like Baylor and Gannon are going to get rewarded as much from a rankings perspective. Right now with the NCATA rankings, again, I don't really know how that all is going to continue to play out. I don't have the ins into the NCATA. Are they going to continue to have these crossovers where UMHB plays Baylor, and that's always a fun matchup. They're 40 miles apart. UMHB has been the most dominant team in Division III. Baylor has been the most dominant team on the face of the earth.
Yes.
And so it's fun to see, and I like to see that. I hope that those don't go away, especially because I think as other teams improve, I think as Concordia, Wisconsin, I would love to see Concordia, Wisconsin continue to improve and have those opportunities as well, as they're going to get started here into their open toss. So the open toss, a 9.0. You're going to see the same thing as they're going to go with the back layout right at you. And a good look as number 5, Jenna Gardner, is your top. Gardner's been very good all weekend long.
Yeah, she's been solid for sure.
And another great toss from the Falcon. A good job.
Gardner, Hall, very good for both of these teams. But just kind of looking at the way things are playing out, and you talked about UMHB, and you talked a little bit about how, tougher schedule, which is expected when you're a multiple-time champion. You're going to get everybody's best any building that you go into. And so for them, they're still sitting at 6-3 on the overall season. So not a bad record at all, for sure. But, looking at the way that they have competed here today, you wouldn't know it. Again, there's still some question as to whether or not they'll make it to that next level, the national competition. But I don't see why they wouldn't. Just based on from what we're seeing here today, this weekend, for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, it will. Their scoring average is a little bit low to be able to make that this year. I think right now, especially with the expansion of Division I and Division II, all of Acro is expanding, especially Division I and Division II expanding. Right now, UMHB kind of an average score of about 255, 256, needing to be a little bit more into the 260s. The only 260 they've had this year was the last weekend of the year against ETBU right here in this building. And, they would love to throw up something close to that now. They're going to have a little bit of a trouble with the 6.4. And we'll just kind of see how that plays out. Hedrick's going to come in, and Hedrick is going to give the back layout with the 360 spin. She's also going to have a kick split in the middle. Watch as those legs come over the top. Her legs are going to separate. That's designed. And there's the kick, and it comes through. A really nice job. And it's so difficult and impressive because anytime the legs come apart, you're going to lose momentum. And so it means she's got so much momentum coming through that when she kicks those legs apart, that she's not actually losing enough momentum to not get her feet all the way through, adds a level of difficulty, and a good job from the Crusaders.
Yeah, great job from the Crusaders, and great job by, I think that was number 13, Valeria Guevara. She almost, I think, got hit in the face all the way down, which I wonder why that doesn't happen more often than when they come down on that dismount there. So.
I think after it happening to you a couple of times as that back base, I think you learn how to make it not happen. But it does happen. I think it's the thing, and it shows the toughness of these ladies. It actually does happen from time to time.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily always see it. I don't think it's always quite as violent as maybe if you were just a straight knockheads. I think that's where some of the concussions actually do come in.
That's true. Very, very true. We're going to take about 30 seconds to step aside and show you what's coming up next. Our favorite, or at least my favorite event, the tumbling event, is going to be very explosive. Can't wait to see what these teams put on. We'll give you here all these people that with the championship.
The event is tumbling. The event 6 heats. The first year synchronized group tumbling passes, a duo, trio, and quad tumbling pass. The last 3 are individual tumbling passes. The start value of each heat are determined by the difficulty and combination of skills in each heat. Officials will be looking for body position, continuity of skills, and technique in each skill.
All right, these scores for the toss event are in, and so it's a 7.6 in the 450 salto for Concordia with a start value of 8.8. The UMHB crew with a 9.475 with a start value of 9.90. And then in the synchronized toss, 7.425 from the Falcons with a start value of 9.0. And for UMHB, an 8.875 with a start value of 9.40. In the open toss, 8.175 for Concordia on a 9.0 start value. And UMHB with an 8.925 and on a 9.5 start value. Total scores from each team. Concordia with a 23.20. UMHB on the other side with a 27.275. In the overall meet thus far, the Falcons earning right now a 101.125. And for UMHB, it's going to be at 117.675. So the crew really pulling away right now, Kyle.
Yeah, 60 points available as we move into the tumbling aspect of this. So a lot of points to be able to make up in this, or a lot of points to be able to pull away with, just kind of depending on which direction this goes. As the Falcons with the duo to get started, going to have Ainsley Taylor, number 15, and Katia Sanders, number 22. And the impressive thing, these are a couple of bases, an 8.0 start value with the round off, the back handspring, and the full, and a really nice job in synchronization. Here's the deal about the tumbling passes in the duo, trio, and quad. You're going to have 2 ladies, 3 ladies, and 4 ladies, and you're not allowed to have a crossover. So if you go as a duo, you can't have one of those athletes go in the trio or the quad. Really begins to stretch you, show your depth, and test your strategy. You may have someone that you want to have in the duo because of a skill that they can do, but maybe someone else can do that skill, maybe not as well, but they can't do something that's going to happen in the quad. So it really forces you to make some decisions about where are you going to put your points and how are you going to get points on the floor.
Again, chess pieces. It's a chess match here between both teams, really, and it's part of the process here throughout the course of an acro and tumbling meet. You know, are you going to be willing to get those deductions, and so and where can you kind of, you know, weather the storm, so to speak. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens here going forward. As for the crew, looking at their duo, who they're going to be bringing out here, as we look at the overall competition here for tumbling, they are going to be bringing out the duo of Jenna Hall and Madison Lewis, a senior and a junior. So veteran group right now here for UMHB.
Yeah, and you're going to see it on the passes. This is a 9.55 start value for the Crusaders. A duo, and what they're going to do is, these are the only 2 ladies in the competition that have done a full and a half. So a back layout with a 540. They're going to do it right in the middle. It's a risky move in the middle, but when it pays off, it's absolutely fantastic. Is going to run in from that left corner, round off, and then there's the full and a half, round off, couple of back handsprings and a full. And these 2 ladies have, boy, as they've come into this as a duo, they've gotten better at synchronizing that, and you see how good that is as the season has gone on. That's a really difficult element. You know,
yeah.
We said we were going to talk about it earlier, and a good spot to talk about it here. This is not a spring floor. So what you're seeing is you have a gym floor, and on top of the gym floor is about a 3-inch dead mat. So it's a mat for protection. It's going to protect your joints a little bit. It's going to protect you when you fall, but it's not going to give you any assistance. And honestly, it's going to take away assistance, as you've got to you've got to explode through that with the mat having just a slight bit of give, so it's not like you're jumping off of a straight gym floor.
Yeah.
So it does protect you, but it's not giving you an assistance. So if you're used to, maybe you haven't seen a lot of acro and tumbling, and you say, well, this isn't really all that good because in the Olympics I see people doing this and this and this. Not the same floor. This is actually not something that they train on a lot even. When you're growing up in gymnastics, you're using the spring floor. This is something you'll use at the lower level. It protects you as you learn your skills. But now they're coming out and doing 540 rotations. I think one day we're going to see somebody do a 720 rotation, and it's going to be nuts, and everybody's going to have to figure out how to rescore everything.
Yeah.
But right now, a back layout with 540, a rotation and a half is incredibly difficult, and the crew just did it pretty well.
Yeah, did it very, very well. And that day could be today. You never know.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Hey, you know what? We've seen Jaden Vale do some crazy stuff. Maybe she's going to do a 720
Maybe,
right here.
absolutely.
As the three ladies on the floor, Jaden Vale, Emily Aruka, and Riley Benley, these three have been very good for the Falcons as a round-off back handspring, back tuck for the Falcons. Good sink, and they hit it well. A trio score of a possible score of 6.75. And I want to take this opportunity because one of the things I want to talk about, Caitlin Lowry.
Coming this way. You can go to.
Caitlin Lowry in her second year for the Falcons is really doing something special with the Falcons and really kind of bringing them along. This is the fourth national championship Division III is hosted, and to this point in 2023, it was UMHB versus Trine. 2022, it was UMHB versus Trine. 2025, it was UMHB versus TLU. And now TLU's taking a little bit of a step back. Weren't able to put together a full team and be here as they've had several injuries, really unfortunate for them. But now what we've seen is Coach Lowry in her second season has brought this program to a point where they took on, in the semifinals, the team that has 2 of the 3 years been right here in this spot. They defeat them to get here, and I really think there's some really good things in the future for Concordia, Wisconsin, as the Falcons and Coach Lowry. Coach Lowry has a great background, competed at West Liberty University. Not only was she a top, not only was she a tumbler, she was also a base. So she's literally done everything on the floor, and I think that's a great thing as she moves forward, coaches up these ladies up in Wisconsin.
And the other thing, too, is that she started her career as a head coach at 6-3 in 2025. So already setting the standards high. She's on pace to do the exact same thing, if not better, as a beautiful – a sequence there from UMHB.
Yeah, a great trio. As honestly, my favorite thing of the entire meet is that Jenna Crafts, you saw her on the screen, she's right in the middle. That's number 5. Jenna Crafts, it has to start outside of the gym. They open up the doors, they put the doorstop down, and she starts about a step outside of the gym because these ladies are so trained that they know their steps. They know how many steps they need. And one of the unique things, as you do when you go to other places, is you have to play within the confines of where you are. Baseball fields have different dimensions. Gyms have different backgrounds. And here, gyms have different dimensions now for this sport. And so UMHB has a larger base in their gymnasium, and so she can back up as far as she needs. Here, the walls are a little bit closer, right outside of the paint, so they open up the door. She just starts running. That's what I told her. I said, hey, why don't you just start from the top? You get a little go, from the top, you run down a couple of ramps. You could come out at full speed, and maybe she could get the 720.
Yeah, she probably could get the 720. I mean, I would definitely try it for sure if I'm given the leeway. You know, if she can start from the concession stand.
That's right.
And then take the entire ramp down onto the mat into the gym there. Who knows?
Who knows?
Actually, I want to see that done. If anybody can do that out here who's still listening to us yap, write that down. We want to see it. Send us the video.
As that was an 8.35 pass for UMHB, and now the quad for the Falcons is going to be a 7.25 pass. As there's a pause for the moment. Did we get something announced wrong?
Yeah, did they? I think so. Maybe.
I think they announced Trine. I think they announced the Trine ladies.
Yeah.
On the tumble. And so I was looking up at Trine.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So now we're getting it
There
straight.
we go. There we go.
As on the floor is going to be number 5, Jenna Gardner, number 10, Gabby Dixon, number 27, Frankie Evich, and number 17, Kirsten Bailey, as they're going to run in with this quad pass.
I'm surprised we haven't been calling out the wrong teams at this point.
As a round-off back handspring, back layout, and a really nice job.
It's a great finish.
Yeah, good job from the Falcons. A nice finish, nice in synchronization. And anytime you have that back layout and you've got really nice synchronization, it just is a great look. I think it's one of those things that if I were making videos about acro and tumbling, I would have slow motion videos of those feet all coming over at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the synchronization is really the toughest part of it because, again, you're dealing with athletes who have, different lengths for their runways. Some of them start kind of close to the mat. Some of them have to start from a little bit further back. You're dealing with different stride lengths from each athlete, different sizes, heights. All of that plays into a factor. So where one athlete would particularly finish, another athlete has to kind of measure and see if they can kind of all fall in line. It's hard. It's really, really tough to do. Again, I liken it to running a relay for someone who, if you have a runner who is handing off the baton, who has a little bit more of a stride length than you got to have to widen the steps a little bit more. So, again, all of that playing into, a good tumbling routine.
Yeah, it really does. And so the quad for UMHB, an interesting situation earlier today. This quad pass is worth 8.0 points, as it's going to be Anna Kasurgis, Claire Willis, Casey Hedrick, and Savannah Hall. These four ladies actually had to do this twice during the event finals, as they had a dead heat with trying and had to go through a second time. You're going to see exactly what they did this morning, as they're going to run in a round off back handspring and a full, so a back layout 360 as they're going to dance to wrap it up.
Nice job there.
And a nice job, as was kind of checking on Casey Hedrick. Didn't look all that thrilled at the end. She didn't do anything wrong. Trying to make sure she's doing okay, though, as Hedrick obviously a big part of the Crusaders. You'll forgive me. Okay, so that's the the guy knowing the team. I've kind of worked around them for a while now, so making sure that making sure my ladies are okay. But here's the deal. With Trine, they were in a dead heat, so they both did the exact same pass. Both of them were an 8.0. Trine goes first. UMHB goes second. And then they come up, and the judges say it was a tie, an exact tie.
Wow.
In doing that, you go again. So then Trine comes up. Trine does their pass better than the first time. It was absolutely beautiful. And at that point, you kind of knew how things were going to go. Trine nails it, does a great job. And then there was a very long delay. Honestly, I was kind of trying to fill. I had no idea what else to say. There was something going on with the judging, because it was a great pass. There was no real reason for the judging to take that long. UMHB comes up, and they did it better. I said, let's just cut the trophy in half, give it to both of them. UMHB actually comes out on top with a near perfect score. It was an 8.0. They scored like an 7.825. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we go into the individual tumbling now, and on the floor coming across Ainsley Taylor, as Taylor with a great pass and a
That's
nice
an
job.
Incredible pass.
Boy, you see the excitement.
Very close to the edge of the mat on the finish, too.
Yeah, Taylor is a base, and she did a great job as a round off, and then finishes it off back handspring, back layout 360 as she comes right across. And after the round off, you see that aerial element where she had no hands, as she goes from facing back to facing forward with that front flip. And so what you really see is in this first heat of aerial, there has to be an element where you don't use your hands. That was it for her, and she did it. Boy, and what a great pass.
Great pass, big time.
Yeah.
And my whole thing about it, too, is that you just look at the fluent movements.
Yes.
Nothing looked choppy. There were no real breaks in the routine or in the action. Steady stride. Everything looked perfectly natural.
Yeah, it was an 8.60 pass, and that was really great from her. Unfortunately, we didn't see her compete in the aerial pass for the event finals. Would have loved to see it, especially if she were to bring out something like that. So it's going to be a really great score for her. And coming up for UMHB is going to be Jenna Crafts, the junior. Crafts this morning took the victory in the aerial, so she's got a start value of 9.45. She's got 3 whips in a row, and she had her best run of the season, a 9.1 this morning, to take the event final victory. So we're going to see if she can match that here. As the crew are going to chant CRU as she does her 3 whips through the middle of this routine. So going to go a round off, whip, 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 and then a back handspring,
Beautiful.
And a full, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Boy,
that was impressive.
That was impressive, and that might have been better than she did earlier, because
Yeah.
at the end of her run earlier today, she lost a little bit of steam. There was no steam loss there at all.
None at all. And again, very consistent movement, no breaks in it. The whips were so clean, so quick, up and down off the mat very quickly there. I was kind of getting dizzy watching it. I thought I was going to fall over for a second, but she did a fantastic job. Crafts really putting the pressure on, as we've got number 17 coming up here for Concordia, that being Kirsten Bailey, a freshman out of Andover, Minnesota.
As Bailey's going to compete in the 6 element. So pretty easily named for you. 6-element pass means you've got 6 elements to do. And it's a longer routine. Bailey's going to start just a short run up. She's not going to go all the way back to the wall. And probably what that tells me, especially with Concordia, Wisconsin, we see most of their run-ups are fairly short. I have no idea what their gym looks like, but I would think that maybe they have a little bit tighter gym, maybe something similar to what we have here at ETBU, because they haven't really needed any extra space to this point, and a lot of their duo, trio, and quads start on the mat. They don't have a huge run-up.
As she's getting set to go here.
7.75 start value for Bailey. She's going to get started with a front handspring, and then that front tuck, round off, couple of back handsprings, and a whip. Or a back layout, excuse me, back layout, not a whip. A nice job on the back layout. And we saw it right there. Kind of got stuck right in the middle.
I was going to say she stalled out a little bit.
And a really good job to get her momentum back. Could have been a really easy moment for her to kind of lose the continuation, but she does a great job working through it, I thought.
Yeah, she worked through it for sure. And hopefully, it wasn't something that, is going to cause a major dockage in points. But, yeah, she definitely kind of hesitated a little bit towards the finish there, but able to wrap up well, land well towards the edge of the mat there. But, yeah, overall, pretty good job there. And here's the other thing that I was also thinking about here as we're looking at the athletes and the fact that they have to, particular steps to get onto the mat here. That's crucial, because if you have too big of a running start onto the mat, you might run out of gas before you can even finish the routine. Too short, you may end up off the mat. The last part's a little obvious, but I felt like, it was going to be left incomplete if I didn't add it.
Absolutely, yes. It's Jenna Hall going to come up a 9.75 start value. We talked about she's one of only 2 ladies that's going to do the full and a half. Hey, if 1 was good, then 2 is better. She's got 2 full and a halves for you right at the beginning and right at the end. She's going to go round off full and a half, 2 back handsprings, and she's going to finish it off with another full and a half. The round off, here's your full and a half. Another round off, back handspring, full and a half.
Beautiful finish.
Boy,
there.
That's gorgeous, as that is the last individual pass of Jenna Hall's illustrious and bright career. A great job for her.
It's emotional, yeah.
Yeah, and the crowd surf from Jenna Hall is, wait, here comes Coach Scotto. Coach Scotto with the crowd.
Another crowd surf.
Drop Coach
they
Scotto.
dropped the Coach. How'd she get back on her feet that quickly, though? I guess that's, again, the acro and tumbling background
I guess
coming
so.
into play. Wow.
So we're going to turn it over now to the Falcons, and the Falcons going to have an 8.0 on the open pass. And, again, the open pass, you can do whatever it is you want. You're going to throw out your best remaining tumbler.
This is where the 720 comes out, right?
I'm not sure we're going to see that today, but Katia Sanders is going to step up. And here's an interesting thing that we've seen from the Falcons is that the Falcons, Ainsley Taylor and Katia Sanders are 2 of their bases, and here they are in their individual tumbling. I think maybe that, and again, you have your team, and that's who it is that you're working with. And so, but I also think that we see that a little bit from Coach Lowry. Coach Lowry did all of it herself, and now she's got ladies that are doing all of it as well. I think a good sign, because you start using your athletes and putting them in good situations. That's what you do in coaching, and Coach Lowry's doing a good job of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, a long run up there, and she gets to the end of the mat.
As a round
I was
off.
a little nervous there because she didn't start the routine until she got to the ETBU
Yeah.
on the ETBU mat.
Yeah, nice job. A round off back handspring, and then the back layout with the 360. So she does the full and completes it well. An 8.0 pass and a nice job for Kadia Sanders.
Yeah, very, very nice job for sure.
As we just have one more tumbling pass left before we're going to take a short break and get into the team event.
Madison Lewis for UMHB coming up here.
Yeah, so Lewis, you've already seen Lewis compete once alongside Jenna Crafts in the doubles event, and she's going to take the same pass that they did in the doubles. So it's a 9.55 as a round off into that full and a half. So a back layout with a 540, a rotation and a half, a round off, back layout, and then she's going to go. So she's not going to do what Jenna Hall did with the full 540. She's going to go with the back layout 360. But I feel fairly confident next year we're going to see Madison Lewis basically taking exactly what Jenna Hall did and replicating it next year as a senior.
Yeah, that will be fun to watch for sure. And she's got her right hand kind of wrapped up there.
She starts all the way at the back, a run in. She's got some big strides. There's the 540, and then back handsprings 360. And
wow, what a finish.
Yeah, absolutely nails it. Made it look really nice. And here's one of the things, and again, I can speak to it just because I've seen her during the year. She's really made a lot of progress. As one of the things, she's getting very good at creating explosion but controlling that explosion. Beginning of the year when she was running the full and a half, she would do that, and as she would come in, she'd go round off straight into the full and a half and really would run through it. She couldn't have these long build-ups, long tumbling runs, because when she would hit that full and a half, her body weight would go so far forward.
Yeah.
She had some good scores, but now has really learned how to hone that in, and a good thing for her.
Yeah, absolutely. And so judges are going to tally up the scores. As my main man Kyle just said, we're going to head into a quick 30-second break, but we're going to give you a sneak peek of what is to come, the coup de grace event. We'll see in about the next couple. We'll see what we'll be at.
Team event. This event is everything you just watched in the first 5 events. The team event features up to 24 athletes on the floor at one time, performing skills in acro, toss, pyramid, and tumbling in a routine set to music. Key items for officials to evaluate include synchronization of skills, stability of the structures, body position, and technique of the tumbling. This is a very fast-paced event, so be sure to keep your eyes on the mat.
We're back here on the ETBU Plus Network, and the scores are in 7.225 in the duo tumbling event for Concordia, 8.60 for UMHB, 5.375 for Concordia with a 6.75 star value in the trio, 7.20 for UMHB with a star value of 8.35 in the quad, 6.175 for Concordia, and for UMHB, 7.0 respectively, with a star value of 8.60 in the aerial, a 7.45 score for the Falcons in the aerial, a 9.125 for UMHB with a 9.45 star value in their aerial. In the sixth element, a 6.80 finish for Concordia. For UMHB, 9.425. And in the open, with a star value of 8.0, it's going to be a 7.5 score for the Falcons, and for UMHB 9.10, and a total score in the event 40.525 for Concordia, for UMHB 50.450. And the total scores as we head into the team event, Concordia is sitting right now at 141.650, and UMHB sitting at 168.125. And their start value, just kind of peeping that out for UMHB as we head into the team event, a 99.25, I think. Again,
99.72 for UMHB.
99.72.
And a 91.3 for Concordia. And here's the deal. Concordia are sitting right about where they usually do, maybe just a little bit lower. If they pull out kind of a 70 to 75, they're going to hit about their average score.
Yeah.
So they're right where they want to be as Concordia gets started with some running, tumbling, back tucks in the front. And then here comes the really strong pyramids for them. This is one of the great elements for them. We talked about how strong their pyramids are, and they show them right here as that is a couple of beautiful.
Great job by the middle
spikes.
base.
Yeah, nice job. And now into more standing tumbling. Not a lot of momentum here, so this is where you develop all of the explosion, and a good job on the tumbling. Now standing tumbling on the side into a lot of acro elements, and a nice job right on the side. Over on your right side is Jaden Vale and Emily Ruka. Boy, they are a couple of studs and doing a good job here. Everybody's going to drop down.
Great landing.
Yeah, great landing as they drop down into more acros. They're going to go inverted all the way across. You've got 4 inversions and a nice shot. They fought it a little bit on the left side and did a great job getting into it. As when you start having these team elements, you have some ladies that maybe are doing things for the first time in the evening that they haven't done. Maybe going upside down when they haven't gone upside down yet.
Yeah, this is true. Looking very symmetric, though, I will say, from Concordia.
So 3 tosses on the back tuck to layout, standing tumbling on the right corner. Hey, we're going to get another couple of tosses right away, down and up at the front layout. And a good job on the front layout. Nice catch, straight up, straight down, running, tumbling, and we're going to go a whole bunch of different directions as you're either going to have to look at one lady or you're going to get a headache with your eyes going 2 different directions. Into the pyramid. These are another couple of really good pyramids. Is about 58 seconds left. It's 2 minutes and 45 seconds of basically anaerobic exercise. So now they're really having to concentrate and lock in. And how about with a minute left? This is so good, so stable. Good straddles from the 2 tops, and a nice job on the pyramids. They're going to couple of tumbling passes. They're going to set up with the standing tumbling, get into the running tumbling passes to wrap this up and wrap up the season for the Falcons. So running, tumbling across into the back tuck. We're going to get another 3 with a back layout, a full, and then another full. And we'll finish it off with another full. As 15 seconds left, they've got just one more element. They're going to get a couple of acro elements on the side, the dance in the middle, and the drop off. As the Falcons wrap up here in the finals, a nice job from Concordia. Boy, I got caught a little bit of, talking about, didn't get a chance to talk too much about it. They're really right where they want to be. Their scoring average is kind of in that 215 to 220 range. A 75 puts them right where they would, and they've scored several kind of mid-70s on the year in the team event. If they turn in that same type of thing, they're right where they wanted to be here at the end of a long weekend and the end of a long season. A nice job from the Falcons, and we see it. As they wrap up. I'm going to steal your sheet here, Mark. I apologize.
Go ahead.
You see some emotion, and one, you see some fatigue. It's a tough thing, man. That is 2 minutes and 45 seconds of just continuous motion, and we've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
You've got ladies who went from a tumbling pass and then had to go be a middle base, and the exertion it takes on a tumbling pass, and then you've got to lock down. And a lot of times when you lock down, you don't breathe real openly, and so tumbling pass, a lot of exertion. Let's lock down as that middle base or that bottom base, or even we're going into an inverted position. I got to lock the core down.
Yeah.
You just really keep going over and over with it, and it just kind of gets fatiguing. Now, here's the deal. The emotion on the side, I want to give a lot of credit and a shout-out to Concordia University, Wisconsin. Here's the seniors for them. Emily Ruka, so we talked about her, one of the great tops. She is a senior. We also have Ainsley Taylor, number 15. Saw Ainsley Taylor across. listen, I am the last person who's going to critique judging, so please don't take this too negatively. I thought we were going to see a higher score on her tumbling pass. I loved her tumbling pass. I thought it was absolutely awesome, and so would have loved to see a little bit higher score. The judges see what the judges see. I think maybe that's just me being an emotional fan who's
right. Yeah, absolutely. I thought so as well.
That's right. But we've seen Ainsley Taylor. She's a senior. She's done so much for this team and has been really good. Emma Pollack, number 40, number 45, Maria Del Carmen Betancourt. And I'm taking a second look. I want to make sure I don't leave anybody. How about Jaden Vale? Yeah, I can't leave out Jaden Vale.
I was going to say can't.
So here's the deal is with that. These ladies have taken this program and now are in a national championship in their in their coach's second season and have come a long way, really done some good things and set up very well for the future. So a huge credit to those ladies as, their first season under the coach when they were juniors, they had a good year. They knew they were going to build and come into the second. And so just a great job from the Falcons of Concordia, Wisconsin, as they have wrapped up. They're taking off the tape. They're taking off their shoes.
Right.
All they've got left is to watch and then await the scores.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, hey, again, a very hard-fought season. Like you said, finishing right where they want to be. I mean, last year finishing at 6-3, most likely going to finish around there at the end of this. And so really interested to see what UMHB brings to the table here for the team event as they're most likely going to be sitting at, I want to say, 240, 260, somewhere in that range at the end of the night?
They'll kind of be in that range at the end of the night with about a 160, 168 right now. They've got 99 points on the board, basically 100. Let's say they score an 85. They're kind of hanging out in that 250 range, which is right where they typically score. So, again, they're kind of where they want to be as well.
All right, let's see how they kind of wrap things up here.
So running, tumbling across, and we're going to get into the acros very quickly. UMHB trying to get there very quick. And here's the deal. Watch the press out for all of these ladies. It's a fun element. Press out for everybody. And a great job as they push up high and then bring it back down.
Not a single, sign of movement on that either.
Yeah, so standing tumbling and a lot of good tumblers for the Crusaders come across. Lots of standing tumbling, and they're going to move right into this toss. So 3 tosses all the way across. Michaela Fry is going to join the other 2 ladies that we've already talked about. Toss up. Everybody does a back layout 360, and then standing tumbling. How about 3 standing backflips and a back layout full? And we're going to do that a couple more times throughout the rest of the group. We're going to go into an inversion with the press out in the middle and more standing tumbling all the way on each side of the mat. So kind of splitting your vision, running, tumbling across with a back layout 360, back layout 360, back layout 360, and back layout 540 from the 2 ladies. UMHB with about 1 minute and 20 seconds left. We're going to see the pyramids all the way across as we've got 1 thigh stand, 3 back bridges. And we're going to get the press out on the left side of your screen. The straddles across the middle. Really good back bridges.
Great synchronization.
Yeah, and so solid still from the ladies. Boy, we're a long way into this weekend, a long way into this meet, and solid from the bases. Nice job. As Claire Willis was one of those that joined in the back bridge pyramid. And there's the 2 tosses, the kick split as well as the 720 from the crew. We're going to wrap it up with some cross tumbling as a full, another full. Here's your full and a half once again as UMHB is going to run in. They've got their dance, and a nice job from the crew. Big smiles on the faces. There's Guevara hopping out in front.
I was going to say, I love the hop out in front.
As UMHB wraps up their season, and a nice job from the Crusaders. We just await the score. So coming in, we had the Falcons at 141, UMHB at 168. And again, so, in looking back, for the Falcons to score a 70, that's about a norm. Right now, they've got a couple that are below 70. Everything else is 71, 73, 74, and 75 on the season. Would expect to see something similar, kind of in that 70, 71, 72 range. If they score that, I mean, they're going to be sitting right at, 210, 211, 212. as that's a little bit lower than their scoring average.
Yeah.
I think they would love to be a little bit higher, kind of maybe in that 215, 216 range. They'd be trying 215 to 205 to get here. But again, it's kind of the way that it plays out, the way that emotion goes, the way that excitement goes. There was a lot of excitement and emotion just to make it here.
Just to get here for sure. and like you said, I figured they would be a little bit higher as well. I would think they'd be at somewhere around the 220 or so range, as we've got an announcement here. I think they're announcing the seniors, giving an opportunity just for a quick shout out here for the senior competitors.
Yeah, and a good moment for the ladies on the floor, recognizing these seniors because they've all been such big parts of their programs and have really, you look at finishing your season in the national championships, it gives you an opportunity for you to really depart and set something up special for your team. I got to tell you, I mean, if you told me right now, if you predicted the future and said that next season these two teams will meet each other in the national championships again, I wouldn't be surprised based on what we've seen here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
either.
I mean, because they're all they're losing some really, really awesome seniors on both sides. But boy, they've got some great people coming in behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just a big shout out to the seniors on both sides. Starting with Jenna Hall, she's been one of my favorite tops here for this entire weekend. Like you said, very poised, very confident, doesn't get flustered, and just continues, to just roll with the punches, showing a lot of toughness, a lot of skill on the mat too. Valeria Guevara, a lot of tenacity, a lot of character at the end there, jumping out the front. Natalie Podznik.
Hey, we're getting there, attaboy.
We're getting there. I think that's better than how I pronounced it the first day. Podznik for sure. Maddie LeBarger, Alexis Cockle. Liebarger.
And Alexis Kokel.
Yeah, Kokel. Got it.
Yeah. Man, they definitely try and throw you for a loop there.
They really did.
and let me say this. I'm glad that you stepped in and wanted to say those names.
Yeah.
And I probably should have helped you out earlier, my friend.
Yeah.
I apologize there. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
No, but
absolutely. And then for Concordia, Emily Ruka, Jaden Vale, Ainsley Taylor, Emma Pollock, and Maria Del Carmen Bantacourt. So those are the seniors there, just kind of honoring them as both teams are circled up a bit here. Well, at least UMHB is circled up, and then now Concordia is going to get circled up here as we await the team scores, the final scores here of this meet. But very fun weekend overall, Kyle. I mean, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, it really has. And before they say this, man, thanks so much for the invite. It's been my pleasure to be up here with you, to get to know you.
Yes, sir.
And kind of develop this team. Hey, man, we're going to have to roll this back at some point, buddy.
We have to roll this back for sure. Definitely gonna stay in touch big time here. As we are both, I mean, same conference, so I mean we're gonna cross paths big time.
That's right. The next time I'm listening to a basketball game and I hear you, I'm gonna be texting you, trying to distract you on the broadcast.
Absolutely, that'll be a challenge for me for sure. As we've got the scores, I think about to get announced, or no, they're announcing the seniors again.
Announcing the seniors, absolutely.
We already did that, so.
Yeah, they're announcing the seniors for the Falcons of Concordia, Wisconsin. They announced it for UMHB. Now they're hitting the Falcons. As big smiles from them.
Yeah, definitely an exciting season for both teams. UMHB, it most more than likely will walk out of here with another big win. But both these teams really battled hard.
They really did. It's been a good weekend for each team.
Yeah, absolutely. Team event totals here. Concordia with a 72.760 with a start value of 91.3. And for UMHB with the start value of 99.72, they finished with an 84.810. The total scores now 214.410 for Concordia. So a very good finish.
Yeah.
UMHB, on the other hand, with a 252.935. So they get that 250 range. And as they kind of wrap things up here, both teams very excited here. UMHB, of course, your 2026 champions here of this NCATA Division III tournament here. So how does it feel once again to be at the top of the bout?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really happy for the ladies, and I think you know the same thing. When you get to know the kiddos that you're calling for, well, you just get drawn to them. And it's why I've enjoyed being here, because I get to know so many more. We've got our friends from Calvin have been sitting right down in front of us the whole time. I've got to know them and talk to them the entire season or the entire tournament, so it's been fun. Another team I'm going to be following in the future. And as you know, but with them but getting to talk to a lot of these ladies, it's been absolutely fantastic. And before, let me say this, and I'll let you wrap it up after this. The Falcons finished 214.410, and that's right about their scoring average. And so they did exactly what they wanted to do. We're going to come in, we're going to run our race, play our game, and they absolutely did that. UMHB did that as well. UMHB actually scored a little bit lower than their scoring average, but that's their game, is we can do things that we don't think you can do, and we're going to run it out there. And so now UMHB with a four-peat 4 times in a row, and partner, next year UMHB is going to try and make it 5, and something tells me that some of these up-and-coming teams, ETBU with Ashton Davis coming back. You've got Concordia, Wisconsin with a lot of momentum going into the offseason after competing in a national championship. Trine is going to be hungry to get back to a national championship. They're going to see, man, are they going to be the ones to break the streak? And I guess we're going to have to wait 1 year to see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and find out. But once again, Kyle, it's been a blast having you up here with us on the campus of East Texas Baptist University. This has been your 2026 host for the NCATA Division III tournament. Mark T. Robinson, Kyle Shipp signing off here on the ETBU Plus Network. We thank you guys for supporting Acrobatics and Tumbling. We thank you for supporting ETBU Athletics and the ASC as well. And thank you, folks. Have a great night. We'll see you again next time.